In my years of walking this earth, observing people and their ways, I've come to realize something profound. Intelligence isn't just about how much you know. It's about how you live, how you treat others, and how well you learn from your mistakes. But here's the twist. There are certain unmistakable signs, 6 to be exact, that reveal when someone is lacking in wisdom. Before dismissing this list, consider why it matters. Spotting these signs isn't about judging others. It's about reflection, growth, and avoiding these pitfalls in our own lives. It's also about helping those who might not realize they're trapped in their own cycle of foolishness. Join me on this journey of discovery as we uncover 6 undeniable signs of a foolish person. Each carries a lesson, a story, and a mirror for self-reflection, because the path to wisdom always begins with awareness. The first sign is a closed mind. A closed mind is a fortress of ignorance, built brick by brick with fear, pride, and stubbornness. People like this not only reject new ideas, but also block their own paths to growth. They live in a rigid box where everything must operate according to their familiar rules, and anything different is perceived as a threat. Their confidence often serves as a facade, because true confidence comes from knowing you can't know everything. Take Mark, a department manager at a company I once worked for. Mark was adamant that the old ways of working were best, despite clear signs that his team was falling behind competitors. When a younger employee suggested implementing modern project management software to improve efficiency, Mark dismissed the idea outright, saying, "We've done it this way for 10 years, and it's worked fine." As a result, while other teams in the company advanced, Mark's team struggled, clinging to outdated processes. Instead of acknowledging the problem, he blamed his staff, the market, and even luck, but never questioned his own entrenched mindset. A closed mind doesn't just block new knowledge, it stunts the growth of everyone around it. Wise people, however, aren't afraid to admit they don't know everything and are always willing to learn. Stoic philosophy reminds us that wisdom isn't about always being right, but about the ability to adapt and improve. If you notice this tendency in yourself or someone at work, remember that embracing innovation fosters personal growth and creates a more productive environment. Be brave enough to say, "I was wrong and I want to learn." Only when the walls of stubbornness crumble can true wisdom take root. The second sign is constant blaming. Foolish people are masters of excuses. For them, nothing is ever their fault. A failed project was due to market conditions. A missed promotion was because of a biased boss. Blaming is a shield, a way to avoid confronting the truth, but it also becomes a prison, preventing any real growth. Take Lisa, an event organizer I once worked with. She was in charge of planning a major conference. When the event flopped due to poor attendance, Lisa immediately blamed the marketing team for not promoting it well enough. However, an investigation revealed that Lisa had failed to send the event details on time, delaying the entire marketing campaign. Even then, she continued pointing fingers, refusing to accept her own role in the failure. As a result, her colleagues lost trust in her, and Lisa eventually stepped down from her position. Responsibility, though often heavy, is the gateway to growth. Wise people admit their mistakes, not because they enjoy criticism, but because they understand that truth brings opportunities to improve. Stoic philosophy teaches that mastering life starts with mastering responsibility. If you find yourself blaming others, pause and ask, "Have I done everything I could? Could I have handled this differently?" Blaming won't change the outcome, but taking responsibility will change you. Choose the path of truth, improvement, and greatness. The third sign is arrogance over humility. Have you ever encountered someone who constantly tries to prove they're the smartest person in the room? Arrogance isn't just a mask for insecurity. It's the biggest barrier to growth and wisdom. Truly intelligent people listen more than they speak, because they understand that learning is a lifelong process. Take Michael, a manager at a large corporation. In every meeting, he dominated conversations, interrupted colleagues, and mocked their ideas. When the company faced a failed project, Michael blamed his team for not understanding his brilliant ideas. In reality, it was his arrogance and refusal to listen that derailed the entire project. When his boss asked him to reflect, Michael couldn't come up with a single valid reason. His arrogance had blinded him to opportunities for improvement. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself, but about thinking of yourself less. It prioritizes learning and collaboration over proving you're right. Stoic philosophy reminds us that wisdom comes when we open ourselves to new perspectives. If you ever find yourself caught in the trap of arrogance, ask, am I seeking recognition, or do I genuinely want to grow? Wisdom isn't about making others feel small, but about empowering them. The truly wise allow humility to guide them because they know that real intelligence emerges when the noise of arrogance quiets down. The fourth sign is a lack of empathy. This is one of the clearest indicators of ignorance, as it reflects an inability to step into someone else's shoes and understand their feelings. Without empathy, people live in isolation, disconnected from meaningful relationships, and often hurt others without even realizing it. This absence doesn't just harm relationships, it diminishes the depth of one's character. Let me tell you about Paul, a colleague of mine. He had a habit of complaining about project delays without ever trying to understand the reasons behind them. Once, when a coworker named Susan missed a deadline because her son was seriously ill, Paul publicly criticized her in front of the team. He didn't care about Susan's circumstances, only about the results he expected. A year later, when Paul found himself in a similar situation, caring for his ailing mother, he finally realized how his thoughtless criticisms had hurt others. Lack of empathy doesn't just make someone appear cold. It blinds into opportunities for learning and growth. Stoic philosophy teaches that true wisdom doesn't come from knowing everything, but from connecting with others on a deep, meaningful level. Those who lack empathy fail to enrich their lives and isolate themselves, leaving a lasting impression of insensitivity. Empathy is not a weakness. It is a bridge to wisdom and humanity. When you pause to truly listen to someone else, you not only help them, but also gain invaluable lessons for yourself. An empathetic heart enriches your world and enables you to navigate life's complexities with grace and understanding. If you find yourself lacking empathy at times, start by listening without judgment. It's a first step toward opening your heart and mind, guiding you closer to genuine and wisdom. The fifth sign, the fear of change, the comfort zone feels cozy, but it's also a prison. Those who fear change cling to old habits, even when they've outlived their usefulness. They're like children afraid of the dark, hesitant to step outside the familiar. But my friend's life is a river. It flows, bends, and constantly transforms. The wise learn to adapt tread, while the foolish try to hold water in their hands, only to watch it slip through their fingers. Take Michael, for instance, a man who spent his entire life in a small neighborhood. He knew every corner, every face in the community. When his grown children encouraged him to move to a new area for better opportunities, Michael refused. I know everyone here, why should I go somewhere else? He said. But then the neighborhood started changing. Old friends moved away, familiar shops closed down. Michael realized that even though he resisted change, the world around him was still moving forward. Eventually, he decided to move closer to his children. Only then did he discover that the new environment not only brought comfort, but also opened up opportunities he never imagined. The fear of change doesn't just keep us in the safe zone, it also prevents us from exploring greater possibilities. Stoic philosophy teaches us that change is inevitable, and only by embracing it with an open heart can we truly live a full life. If you find yourself avoiding change, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen, and what's the best that could happen? Life doesn't stand still, and if you don't learn to go with the flow, you'll be left behind. Remember, change is a step toward growth. While resisting it only keeps you stagnant. In fear, the sixth sign, talking more than listening. Have you ever seen a family member who insists they know everything? They dominate every conversation, interrupt constantly, and rarely take the time to listen to others. This is a clear sign of someone who talks more than they listen. A hallmark of foolishness. They love the sound of their own voice, often disregarding others' perspectives, which not only creates tension, but also damages family relationships. Let me share a story about John, a father. I once knew every evening at dinner, John would monopolize the conversation. His kids tried to share their experiences from school, but John frequently interrupted to recount his great stories. When his wife suggested changes to improve the family's financial situation, John dismissed her ideas outright, insisting his way was the only way. The tragic part was that John didn't realize how much of behavior was making his family feel unheard and unvalued. His lack of listening created a rift, leaving everyone feeling overlooked and disrespected. Listening isn't passive, it's an active skill that requires genuine attention and respect for others. Stoic philosophy reminds us that listening is a pathway to learning and growth. In silence, we find deep understanding and wisdom. Conversely, talking without listening is like sowing seeds in barren soil. Nothing will ever Grow if you see yourself in John's story. Now is the time to change. Next time your child shares about their day or your spouse offers their thoughts, pause and truth listen. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Try to understand by doing. So you'll not only improve family relationships, but also create an environment of love and mutual respect. Remember, the wise person listens, the foolish one only talks. So we've walked through the 6 signs of a stupid person, but before you click away and start wondering, am I stupid? Hold on for a second. The truth is, all of us at some point in life have exhibited one or more of these signs. Maybe we've been arrogant, clung too tightly to our comfort zones, or let's be real, talk too much without really listening. Here's the key takeaway. Recognizing these signs isn't about criticism. It's about improvement. Stoic philosophy teaches us that wisdom doesn't come from always being right, but from continually learning, admitting our mistakes, and being willing to grow. Each stupid trait is actually a golden opportunity to become wiser. So if you find yourself resonating with one or more of these traits, take it as an invitation to evolve, step out of your comfort zone, listen more, blame less, and embrace change. This journey isn't for the perfect, it's for the brave, the ones who can look at themselves and say, I can do better. Remember, stupidity is temporary, but wisdom is a journey, and on that journey, you're not alone. Keep growing, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue exploring meaningful lessons together. Thank you for watching. Music. ChatGPT said, here's a rewritten version of your script with improved flow and clarity while maintaining its original message. If you ever find yourself struggling with empathy, start by listening without judgment. This simple act is a first step toward opening your heart and mind, leading you closer to true wisdom. The 5th sign of foolishness is the fear of change. The comfort zone feels safe, but in reality, it can be a prison. Those who fear change cling to old habits, even when they no longer serve them. They're like children afraid of the dark, hesitant to step outside the familiar. But life is a river. It flows, bends, and constantly transforms. The wise learn to adapt and move with it, while the foolish try to hold on to water, only to watch it slip through their fingers. Take Michael, for instance. He spent his entire life in the same small neighborhood, knowing every face and every corner. When his grown children encouraged him to move to a new area for better opportunities, he refused. I know everyone here. Why should I go somewhere else? He argued. But over time, the neighborhood changed. Old friends moved away. Familiar shops closed down, and Michael found himself isolated. Eventually, he decided to move closer to his children. Only then did he realize that change, which he had once feared, brought new opportunities and a sense of belonging he never expected. The fear of change doesn't just keep us stuck. It also prevents us from discovering greater possibilities. Stoic philosophy teaches that change is inevitable. Only by embracing it with an open heart can we truly live a full life. If you find yourself avoiding change, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And what's the best that could happen? Life doesn't stand still. If you don't learn to move with it, you'll be left behind. Change is a step toward growth. Resisting it only leads to stagnation and fear. The 6th sign is talking more than listening. We all know someone who dominates every conversation, interrupts constantly, and rarely takes the time to hear others. This is a clear sign of foolishness. People like this love the sound of their own voice, disregarding other perspectives, which not only creates tension but also damages relationships. Consider John, a father who unknowingly pushed his family away. Every evening at dinner, he monopolized the conversation. His children tried to share their school experiences, but he interrupted with his own stories. When his wife suggested financial changes to improve their situation, he dismissed her ideas outright, insisting that his way was best. What John failed to realize was how much his behavior made his family feel unheard and unvalued. His refusal to listen created a rift, leaving everyone feeling overlooked and disrespected. Listening isn't passive. It's an active skill that requires attention and respect. Stoic philosophy teaches that listening is the path to learning and wisdom. In silence, we gain understanding, while constant talking without listening is like planting seeds in barren soil. Nothing will ever grow. If you see yourself in John's story, now is the time to change. The next time your child shares something about their day or your spouse offers a thought, pause and truly listen. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Seek to understand. By doing so, you'll strengthen relationships and create an environment of love and mutual respect. Remember, the wise listen, while the foolish only talk. Now, before you click away wondering, am I stupid? Pause for a moment. The truth is, all of us have displayed one or more of these traits at some point. Maybe we've been arrogant, resisted change, or talked more than we listened. But recognizing these signs isn't about self-criticism. It's about growth. Stoic philosophy teaches that wisdom doesn't come from always being right, but from continuously learning, admitting mistakes, and striving to improve. Every foolish habit is an opportunity to become wiser. So if any of these signs resonate with you, take it as a challenge to evolve. Step out of your comfort zone, listen more, blame less, and embrace change. This journey isn't for the perfect. It's for the brave, the ones who can look at themselves and say, I can do better. Stupidity is temporary, but wisdom is a lifelong journey. And on that journey, you're not alone. Keep growing. And if you found this message valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue exploring meaningful lessons together. Thank you for watching.